Once again, the attention of the world is on the United States of America, and unfortunately, it's yet again for negative reasons. I'm sure you've all watched the events unfold over the last couple of weeks. Today, President Donald Trump has been impeached for a second time. And of course, there's a lot of tension right now in America. There's lots of negativity, anger, a big divide between different sides. And unfortunately, its ramifications are felt across the world. But today, I would like to share with you just 3 points that I've seen from these events unfolding. How we can learn lessons in our own avodat Hashem, in our own service to Hashem, in our own service to becoming better people, to improving in our own actions. You know, if you look at the Parsha this coming week, Parshat Vaera, you look at last week's Parsha, and really through the whole book of Shemot, you do see this very powerful concept of leadership. You see the contrast between Moshe Rabbeinu, between Moses and Pharaoh and Paro. You see how Paro really is such a selfish leader. It's all about himself. He doesn't care that his country is being decimated. And of course, you see Moshe Rabbeinu really giving of himself, at first very reluctant, very humble. And so, of course, the spotlight is on leadership. But 3 things that I've learned, I think, personally from these experiences, which we can all learn from. The first is, and of course we saw President Donald Trump being, his speech has been stopped. He's not allowed to post on social media and all these things, and that's up for debate and discussion in its own right. But the lesson we can take from that, our sages tell us, Chachamim hizaru b'divreichem. The sages, be very careful with your words. People in a position of leadership, all of us in fact, have to be very cognizant of what we say, because words do have an impact, do have ramifications. And so we have to be very careful, and as I said, especially if you are in a position where people are listening to you, are following you, are being guided by you. Number 2, a lot of the focus has been on Donald Trump and what he caused people to do. But people have forgotten that ultimately those who did storm the Capitol, and anyone who commits a crime or does something violent, we have to take our own responsibility. Our sage in the Talmud tell us, Adam mu'ad le'olam, a person is always responsible for their actions. If you cause harm to another human being, you're responsible. You can't say, oh, someone incited me. Of course, going back to point 1, we shouldn't incite people. We shouldn't, if we're in a position of leadership, we shouldn't try and encourage violence. But ultimately, each and every one of us are responsible for our own actions. And finally, point number 3, which I find interesting, Donald Trump's about to leave office in a week or so. And people might think, well, what's the point of impeaching him? What's the purpose of all this? And it might be political and so on. But the lesson that we can learn is we are responsible, and we have to take care of ourselves and the things that are negative in the world right up until the last moment of our lives. And we don't know when that's going to be. We have to continue working, continue doing good things. Don't say, well, I've now retired, I don't have to worry, I can just sit back, I don't have to continue growing in my Judaism. Ultimately, it's right till the end. Every day of our lives that we've been blessed with is a day to improve on our actions, a day to help another human being. So hopefully we can learn from all that's going on. Hopefully it all gets resolved. People in power, I hope, guide the country correctly, bring peace, bring people together, and may be able to celebrate only good things. Wishing a Shabbat Shalom and a wonderful weekend ahead.